tell me there is another solar system, Macho Man?
Unbelievable. I'm still in a state of shock right now.
Fredo Al Capone. Fredo Al Capone. I got handguns. Bigger than hell. Macho Man. Randy Savage. Flex like it's my last day here. Trapping like a trappathon. MVP of the year. Thinking to myself like selfish shit on everybody else. Fredo Al Capone. I got handguns. Bigger than hell. Macho Man. Randy Savage. Flex like it's my last day here. Trapping like a trappathon. MVP of the year.
It is believed that these aircraft are from extraterrestrial origin. All residents within a 50-mile radius should seek an underground shelter now. Do not go outside for any reason. You will be incinerated by these aircraft. Do not come in contact with these aircraft as they are considered extremely dangerous and will attack anyone on sight.
Warning, true aliens are attacking the White House. I repeat, true aliens are attacking the White House. Damn, Shroom aliens versus Kush aliens? The battle continues.
Never stress, bless, never stress, bless, never stress, bless, never stress, hella bless, never stress, hella bless, never stress, never stress, bless, never stress, never stress, bless, never stress, hella bless, never stress, hella bless, never stress,
Hey, give me your dope. I know you got dope. Give me that damn dope, boy.
All right then. Don't worry, sis. I'll be so professional that everyone will be happy.
Protect Positive Squad.
Don't worry about what the fuck he be doing. This must be a DJ Smokey exclusive.
I don't talk on the phone, I hit the jet, I go see Pablo.
That's all? That's all.
I don't talk on the phone, I hit the jet, I go see Pablo.
You will?
Yes.
I don't talk on the phone, I hit the jet, I go see Pablo.
some things I shouldn't.
DJ Smokey, 666, bitch.
Who the fuck you gonna trust? Join your party. Bullshit, man. Hey, don't talk to me about trust, I don't like. You know what? You should listen to your wife, man. She's right. You are an asshole, man. Come here, give me a kiss. Come here. Come here. Hey, fuck you, man! Who put this thing together? Me! That's who! Who do I trust? Me!
Fuck. Trust. Her like that. Asshole. I don't need him. I don't need her. Fuck it. I don't need nobody.
So there won't be anyone around if you need help. We couldn't even hear you in the night. Why would we? No one could. No one lives any nearer than today.
Let's go talk to this sexy lady. Come on. Okay.
Take this.
Everywhere I go, everywhere I be, I don't even talk. They still know it's me. Everywhere I go, everywhere I be, I don't even talk. They still know it's me.
Crazy, you know that?
Yeah.
You know that?
Yes.
Oh, this is so twisted. Seriously twisted.
Hey man, pimping is art, man. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, man, you niggas got the ABCs, man, but you niggas really need to get the XYZs. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey, stop.
I found you on next street. Yeah, I found you on next street. Who's that fucking guy? Who's that? I don't give a fuck, kid. Who's that fucking
Stop. Clean it up. We gotta clean it up.
She looks like a loose ass.
She's gone. I don't know where you're going.
Good coward.
Hey, no. Hey. Oh.
tried to pepper spray me, but he didn't get me, bitch. He tried to pepper spray me, but he didn't get me. He didn't get me, bitch. They didn't stop me. Thank you, got it, bitch. Thank you. Let's go. Let's go. Come on.
We gotta go. Stop. We gotta go.
Come on. Come on. Don't. Come on. No. Come on.
I need to clean you up right now.
No!
Hey.
Just breathe. Breathe.
My monkey. Get out of here, Cappy. I got you.
You need rehab. You're relying on other people to stop you getting attacked every street.
Don't rub your hands. Your hands have a spray on it.
So that is why I am better than everyone in the world. Kiss my ass and suck my dick. Everyone. Set number 3.
Keep your hands away from your face. Probably got mace on it.
Come on.
Gucci's, that was fine. Take her outside.
It's okay.
It feels better? Does that feel better? Your hair was good. Shower. Really good, eh? Alright. Let's go now. Don't open your eyes.
These are known as the Red Devils, the Second Alls, the Nungutals, or Yellow Jackets, the 2 and All, the Rainbows, and so forth.
What's most important is what you think. So without any preaching from this film, let's examine the facts and only the facts.
Like that?
Oh, my head.
You thirsty? You want some milk? Alright, just breathe.
I gotta go.
Yeah, wait. Okay, this towel's no good. I'm gonna give you one of mine. Keep it around your neck. Do not wipe your face.
Ow! Ow!
There's something water is gonna help with it. It's gonna help, dude. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's so mean.
Here, head back, more milk. Ready? Are you thirsty? Here you go. Here's some milk. Here. Okay, here. Here's the towel. Towel's to wipe your face.
Oh my god.
And your hair. That's for your face and hair, okay? Can we get in the car? That's the door. That's outside.
Can't see shit.
You're almost there.
I'm gonna. Oh well, Speedy's up there actually.
Alright, Hollywood. See you in a little bit.
Come on in.
Dude, I love you.
YouTube channel.
No longer
You
my
are
camera.
strong as fuck, dude. No, you are so strong. Like, what the fuck was that? You're like superhuman. You took that like a fucking champ, dude. You're fucking insane.
Yay.
This is why I love you.
Really?
Yes, because you're fucking insane and strong as fuck, dude.
I love you.
You literally don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're cool. I'm drunk.
Dude, you're so fucking strong. You're so brave, Gooch.
If you wanna make a move, then you better come in. If you wanna make a move, then you better come in. It's just ability, that reason that we're so thin. Living and dying, and the stories that are true. Sink into a collapse, knowing when you're through. Black coat, white shoes, red hair, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb. Black coat, white shoes, red hair, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb. Well, back in the hole where they got him living like a rapper, he's smarter than that. 9 lives like a cat, 15 years old. Take them to the youth authority home. First thing you learn, you gotta make it in this world alone. Black coat, white shoes, white hat, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb. Black coat, white shoes, white hat, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb. Now he's gone out, he got free, he got a coat, got a car. He's 21 years old, he's running numbers from the bar. He's paid his people, he's getting deep in whatever he can move on, and you know that kid a creeping. Black coat, white shoes, white hat, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb. Black coat, white shoes, white hat, Cadillac. The boys are time bomb. The boys are time bomb. Tears come from the razor that's been tattooed below his eye. His mother cries, she knows that he is strong enough to die. He's rolling in the Cadillac, his midnight sunroof is down. 3 shots right out of here and dead. The new king is crowned. Black coat, white shoes, black hat, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb. Black coat, white shoes, black hat, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb. Black coat, white shoes, black hat, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb. Black coat, white shoes, black hat, Cadillac, yeah. The boys are time bomb.
California sun has sunk behind Anaheim hills. Here comes the night. I was high on junk, and the warm winter sand, and I feel alright. Really a criminal hood, make a bargain with the world. Streets are successful when you're shot to the curb. I spend my day in blackness, at night I get my vision. Dodging cars, paranoid indecision, cause it's wild. Well, it's wild, 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 wild. California sun has sunk behind Anaheim hills. Here comes the night. I was high on drunk, and the warm winter sand, and I feel alright. I get disgruntled outside opinions. I'm no longer respected in this new transition. I put into effect my long time standing. Disastrous living, cause it's wild. Cause it's wild, 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 wild. California sun has sunk behind Anaheim hills. Here comes the night. I was high on junk, and the warm winter sand, and I feel alright. Cause it's wild. Cause it's wild, 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 wild. California sun has sunk behind Anaheim hills. Here comes the night. I was high on junk, and the warm winter sand, and I feel alright. California sun has sunk behind Anaheim hills. Here comes the night. I was high on junk, and the warm winter sand, and I feel alright. Yeah, alright. Shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we got. Set them free at the break of dawn, till one by one they were gone. Back at base, bugs in the software flash the message, something's out there, floating in the summer sky. 99 red balloons go by. Red it's all over and I'm standing pretty in the dust that was a city. If I could find a souvenir just to prove the world was here, and here it is, a red balloon. I think of you and let it go. I took her out, it was a Friday night. I woke alone to get the feeling right. We started making out and she took off my pants, but then I turned on the TV, and that's about the time she walked away from me. Nobody likes you when you're 23, and I still more abuse my TV shows. What the hell is ADD? My friends say I should act my age. What's my age again? What's my age again? On the drive home, I called her mom from a payphone. I said I was the cops and your husband's in jail. The state looks down on sodomy, and that's about the time that bitch hung up on me. Nobody likes you when you're 23, and I still more abuse my bank phone calls. What the hell is call ID? My friends say I should have my age. What's my age again? What's my age again? About the time she walked away from me. Nobody likes you when you're 23, and you still act like you're in freshman year. What the hell is wrong with me? My friends say I should act my age. That's about the time that she broke up with me. No one should take themselves so seriously, with many years ahead to fall in line. Why would you wish that on me? I never wanna act my age. What's my age again? What's my age again? love everyone waiting there for me. Yes, I do. I do. In the garage, I feel safe. No one cares about my ways. In the garage where I belong, no one hears me sing this song. In the garage, in the
Yeah, I'm gonna forget that word. Licentiate. Holder of a certificate. Okay. A friend of mine, a doctor of law, a licentiate in mathematics, and an anarchist, or very nearly so, decided on a real return to the land. In the harsh country of the Haute-Loire, he bred cattle for 10 years on the high plateau, but he objected, and this is the point of the story, to the compulsory vaccination of his cattle against hoof and mouth disease, reckoning that if he had raised them carefully and at a distance from any other herd, there was no danger of contracting the disease. This was when matters became interesting. Veterinary officers went after him and imposed a fine. He took the case to court, giving proof of the incompetence and accidents connected with vaccination. He lost at first, but on appeal, with the help of reports from biologists and eminent veterinarians, he was triumphantly acquitted. This is a very good example of the way in which we can find a little free space in the tangle of regulations, but we have to want to do it, not dispersing our energies, but attacking at a single point, winning by repulsing the administration and its rules. We had a similar experience in our fight against the Aquitaine Coastal Commission. By enormous efforts, we were able to block certain projects which would have been disastrous for the local people, but only after many court cases, even at the highest levels. So here's a footnote. Interesting point here is that we forced the administration itself to act illegally. The method was simple. The administration began work outside the rules and had to justify itself by orders and decrees. Bissani, the director of the commission, advanced the theory that once work has begun, even though irregularly and without proper inquiry, etc., there is nothing more to be done. In other words, once the bulldozers are set to work, there is no further recourse. This means total regulation of citizens and official authorization of illegality. Another example of the same kind is the building of the Le de Bridge, which an administrative tribunal rejected, but which is going on as if nothing had happened. Interesting. Naturally, these are very small actions, but if we take on enough of them and are vigilant, we can check the omnipresence of the state, even though the decentralization noisily promoted by De Ferry has made the defense of freedom much harder. For the enemy today is not the central state, and there's a footnote here, disastrous though its role is for illuminating study. Oh, it's like a book. The enemy today is not the central state, but the the omnipotence and omnipresence of administration. It is essential that we lodge objections to everything, and especially to the police and the deregulation of the judicial process. We must unmask the ideological falsehoods of the many powers, and especially we must show that the famous theory of the rule of law which lulls the democracies is a lie from beginning to end. The state does not respect its own rules. We must distrust all its offerings. We must always remember that when it pays, it calls the tune. I recall prevention clubs we founded in 1956 to deal with the maladjustment of young people. Our premise was that not the young people who were maladjusted, but the society itself. So long as clubs were financed in many different ways, including a subsidy, they went well and enjoyed great success, not adjusting young people to society, but helping them shape their own personalities and to replace destructive activities, drugs, etc., with constructive and positive activities. But all that changed when the state took over the full financing, thinking under Mariah, the minister, that it had itself invented the idea of prevention and creating a national council of prevention, which was a disaster. So he's saying that they had a grassroots prevention clubs to help keep kids off drugs, and it worked really well, and then the government took over, and then it all went to shit. An important point which I must emphasize is that there have to be many efforts along the line suggested. I have in mind one that is most important, namely the objection to taxes. Naturally, if individual taxpayers decide not to pay their taxes, or not to pay the proportion that is devoted to the military expenditures, there is no problem for the state. They are arrested and sentenced. In a matter of this kind, many people have to act together. If 6,000 or 20,000 taxpayers decide upon this type of action, the state is put in an awkward position, especially if the media are brought in. But to make this possible, there has to be lengthy preparations, campaigns, conferences, tracks, etc. More immediately practicable, though again requiring many participants, is the organizing of a school by parents on the margin of public education, though also of official private education. I have in mind a school which the parents themselves decide to organize, giving instruction in fields in which they are equipped and have authorization to teach. At the very least, they might set up an alternative school like the Lycée de Saint-Nazaire, started by the brother of Cohn-Bendit. The most effective type is one run by the true representatives of the interested parties and students and parents and teachers. Okay, that's a really good point, I think. The most effective type of education is one run by the true representatives of the interested parties, the students, the parents, the teachers. So if we have like social institutions, they should be represented by the people they affect, or run by the people they affect. So like the people running the social institutions have an invested interest to make it work and make it good. Whereas now our system is like the people running shit, they don't have any motivation. They don't really give a fuck if the education is good or not. So that's a pretty good idea. Whenever such ventures are made, they need to be organized apart from the political, financial, administrative, and legal authorities on a purely individual basis. An amusing personal example comes from the war days when we were refugees in a rural area. After 2 years, we had gained the confidence and friendship of the villagers. A strange development then took place. The inhabitants knew that I had studied law, and they came to consult me and to ask me to solve disputes. I thus came to play a part of an advocate, a justice of the peace, and a notary. Of course, these unpaid services had no validity in the eyes of the law, but they had validity for the parties concerned. When I had people sign an agreement settling a dispute or solving a problem, they all regarded the signatures as no less binding and authoritative than if they were official. Naturally, these modest examples of marginal actions which repudiate authority should not cause us to neglect the need for an ideological diffusion of anarchist thinking. I believe that our own age is favorable from this standpoint in view of the absolute vacuum in relevant political thinking. The liberals still think that they're in the 19th century. The socialists have no real type of socialism to offer. The communists are merely ridiculous and have hardly yet emerged from post-Stalinism. The unions are interested only in defending their position. 7. We should not forget that the plea of safeguarding employment, they supported the folly of the Concord and still justify the manufacture and export of armaments. In this vacuum, anarchist thinking has an opportunity. If we will modernize itself and draw support from existing embryonic groups such as the ecologists. So he's like, anarchists should reach out to... This is like a fucking... That's the socialist strategy where you try and get groups who are disenfranchised groups to join your cause. That sounds like Socrates, Nikon. It's like something Socrates would say. I am thus very close to one of the forms of anarchism, and I believe that the anarchist fight is a good one. What separates me from the true anarchist, apart from the religious problem, which we shall take up again at length, I think that the point of division is as follows. The true anarchist thinks that an anarchist society with no state, no organization, no hierarchy, and no authorities is possible, livable, and practicable. But I do not. In other words, I believe that the anarchist fight, the struggle for an anarchist society, is essential, but I also think that the realizing of such a society is impossible. But these points need explanation. I will begin with the second. In truth, the vision or hope of a society with neither authorities nor institutions rests on the twofold conviction that people are by nature good and that society alone is corrupt. At the extreme, we find such statements as this: the police provoke robbery, abolish the police, and robbery will stop. That society does, in fact, play a big part in preventing individuals seems sure enough to me. When there is excessive strictness, constraint, and repression in one way or another, people have to let off steam, often by violence and aggression. Today, perversion in the West takes another form as well, namely that of advertising, which promotes consumption and robbery when people cannot afford things. Also that of open pornography and violence in the media. The role of the media in the growth of delinquency and hatred of others is considerable. Nevertheless, society is not wholly responsible. So when, everyone wants to blame society, but they don't want to take individual responsibility for the corruption of human nature. Because then you might have to, better yourself. Who wants to do that? The drug policy in Holland offers an important illustration. Face to face with increasing drug traffic and drug use, the Dutch government opted in 1970 for a different policy from that found in other countries. To avoid the temptation of the forbidden fruit, drug use was legalized, and to check the sale of drugs, the government opened centers where addicts could receive for nothing under medical supervision the doses they needed. It was believed that this would halt The trade and all its evils, the bondage to dealers, the exorbitant prices, and crimes of violence to get money. It was also believed that the craving for drugs would decline. But none of this happened. Amsterdam became the drug capital, and the center of the city holds a horrible concentration of addicts. Ending repression does not check human cravings. In spite of beliefs to the contrary, it is not a good thing. My statement to this effect has no connection with the Christian idea of sin. Sin in effect exists only in relation to God. The mistake of the centuries of Christianity has been to regard sin as a moral fault. Biblically, this is not the case. Sin is a break with God and all that this entails. When I say that people are not good, I am not adopting a Christian or a moral standpoint. I am saying that their two great characteristics, no matter what their society or education, are covetousness and the desire for power. We find these traits always and everywhere. If then we give people complete freedom to choose, they will inevitably seek to dominate someone or something, and they will inevitably covet what belongs to others. And a strange feature of covetousness is that it can never be assuaged. That's another word I don't know. Or satisfied. For once one thing is acquired, it directs its attention to something else. René Girard has fully shown what the implications of covetousness are. No society is possible among people who compete for power or who covet and find themselves coveting the same thing. As I see it, then, an ideal anarchist society can never be achieved. It might be objected that people were originally good, and that what we now see is a result of centuries of declension. Centuries of declension. Jeez. My answer is that in this case we will have to allow for a transitional period, because tendencies which are so firmly rooted will not be eradicated in one generation. For how long then are we to retain the structures and the necessary authorities, hoping that they will adopt policies that are just and liberating and firm enough to direct us in the right path? Is our hope to be withering away of the state? Is our hope to be a withering away of the state? We already have experience of how this theory works out. Above all, we have to remember that all power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. This has been the experience of all millenarians and cities of God, etc. For my part, what seems to me to be just as possible is the creation of new institutions from the grassroots level. The people can set up proper institutions, such as those indicated above, which will in fact replace the authorities and powers that have to be destroyed. As regards realization, then my view is in effect close to that of anarcho-syndicalists of 1880 to 1900. Their belief was that working class organisms such as unions and labor halls should replace the institutions of the middle class state. These were never to function in an authoritarian hierarchical way, but in a strictly democratic manner. They would lead to federations and federal bond being the only national bond. We know, of course, what happened at the beginning of the 1914 war. The deliberate policy was to remove the better anarcho-syndicalists, and the union movement underwent a radical change with the appointment of permanent officials. That was a great mistake. At the same time, the labor halls lost completely their original character as breeding grounds of proletarian elite. In sum, I have no faith in a pure anarchist society, but I do believe in the possibility of creating a new social model. The only thing is that we now have to begin afresh. The unions, the labor halls, decentralization, the federative system are all gone. The perverse use that has been made of them has destroyed them. The matter is all the more urgent because all our political forms are exhausted and practically non-existent. Our parliamentary and electoral system and our political parties are just as futile as dictatorships are intolerable. Nothing is left, and nothing is increasingly aggressive, totalitarian, and omnipresent. Our experience today, the strange one of empty political institutions in which no one has any confidence anymore, of a system of government which functions only in the interests of a political class, and at the same time of the almost infinite growth of power, authority, and social control, which makes any one of our democracies a more authoritarian mechanism than the Napoleonic state. This is the result of techniques. We cannot speak of a technocracy, for technicians are not formally in charge. Nevertheless, all the power of government derives from techniques, and behind the scene, technicians provide the inspiration to make things possible. There is no point here in discussing what everybody knows, namely the growth of the state, of bureaucracy, of propaganda disguised under the name of publicity or information, of conformity, of an express policy of making us all producers and consumers, etc. To this development, there is strictly no reply. No one even puts questions. Except for a few scientists who've seen the dangers of science and a few isolated figures like C. Oh, I should look up this guy. Nice. Yeah, isn't that ridiculous that these scientists, they're so smart, they can't see the dangers of science, they're totally blind. That's like, that's what your bias does, I guess. And your fucking anger. The churches have once again betrayed their mission. The parties play outdated games. It is in these circumstances that I regard anarchy as the only serious challenge, as the only means of achieving awareness, as the first active step. When I talk of a serious challenge, the point is that in anarchy there is no possibility of rerouting into a reinforcement of power. This took place in Marxism. The very idea of a dictatorship of the proletariat presupposed power over the rest of society. Nor is it simply a matter of the power of the majority over the minority instead of the reverse. The real question is that of the power of some people over others. Unfortunately, as I have said, I do not think that we can truly prevent this, but we can struggle against it. We can organize on the fringe. We can denounce not merely the abuses of power, but power itself. But only anarchy says this and wants it. In my view, then, it is more necessary than ever to promote and extend the anarchist movement. Contrary to what is thought, it can gain a broader hearing than before. Most people, living heedlessly, tanning themselves, engaging in terrorism, or becoming TV slaves, ridicule political chatter and politics. They see that there is nothing to hope for from them. So he's saying that, like, the dumb people who just, like, have fun and they don't care about politics, it's not that they're, like, dumb, right? It's like they just, maybe they can tell that politics is a bunch of bullshit. They are also exasperated by bureaucratic structures and administrative bickering. If we denounce such things, we gain the ear of a large public. In a word, the more the power of the state and bureaucracy grows, the more the affirmation of anarchy is necessary as the sole and last defense of the individual, that is, of humanity. Anarchy must regain its pugnancy and courage. It has a bright future before it. That is why I adopt it. I should probably stop there. I can feel my voice is fucking going. That's a good place to stop. Am I? You're gonna use the N-word more often? I should be live.